Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matara, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
Welcome to episode number 256 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes in this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and Pro Class Championship Wrestling from December 29th, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is someone really interesting. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
Really interesting, huh?
Yes. I meant to have a music video set up for you here, but I forgot to. So I guess you were interesting, but not that interesting.
What song would my music video be set to?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to Joel Watts about that.
I don't want it to any of these songs.
What about I'm Too Sexy?
Do you think I'm sexy? That was the song that.
No.
No, not
See,
that either.
So not I'm Too Sexy, but Right Said Fred?
No, that's the worst song ever.
You know, it's funny. I always heard people say that the reason why Bryan Danielson used Final Countdown was because he saw a list of worst songs ever, and that was on there. It's like,
I think I believe I heard him say that.
Yeah. Is that really do people really consider that one of the worst songs ever?
I don't know. I never heard that song until Bryan Danielson used it in Ring of Honor. So my whole acquaintance with it is due to that.
I was thinking about this too the other day because I was looking at a list of worst movies ever that you have to watch at least one time. And one of the movies listed was Con Air with Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, that's legit one of my favorite movies.
I feel like we might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but have you ever seen Manos, The Hands of Fate?
I have.
It's fascinating how fucking terrible it is. It's just I feel like everybody should watch that movie just to see how to fail in every aspect of making a movie.
Have you ever seen Birdemic?
I have seen I've seen summaries.
Okay. So that movie was made for, and I quote, less than $9,000. And when you watch it, you'll be wondering where the hell they got $9,000 out of it. It is the most spectacularly awful movie ever. It fails in any and every possible way.
Yeah. I frequent a couple of YouTube channels that review notoriously bad movies.
My friend Lauren and I, for a few years, had a bad movie month blog where every year we would watch 31 bad movies, and Birdemic was always one that took the cake.
Did you see Birdemic 2?
Oh yeah, we saw Birdemic 1 and 2. We didn't see the third one, and the fourth one gets too mainstream now.
Okay, I don't think they knew. I don't think I knew about the third or fourth ones. You should watch that movie that I sent you the link about that has James Storm and Hornswoggle in it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The terrible fucking Sean Hannity produced Christmas movie, the anti-woke Christmas movie.
Do you hate me that much that I need to watch a fucking anti-woke Christmas movie funded by Sean Hannity with James Storm and Hornswoggle in it?
No, you should at least watch the video that I sent you about it, though, because like that guy
Oh
is
Lord.
pretty. That guy does pretty entertaining videos about some terrible movies.
I forget if I mentioned this one to you, but did you ever hear of Lady Terminator?
No.
This is a foreign movie. This woman uses her vagina to rip off men's penises.
Ah, I have a secret fear
Yes.
of that.
You have a secret fear of having a woman rip your penis off with her vagina?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Ladies and gentlemen, this is more entertaining than either show we watched this week. Just saying. Just throw that out there right now.
Yeah, I
Uh,
feel like we have very little to talk about.
this was the last week of the year, and both shows threw in the towel. You know, you were just, for whatever reason, you decided to watch that random episode of Impact with the barbed wire Christmas tree last week because like TNA was airing it on their YouTube page.
Yeah.
That we should have watched that. That would have had more fun talking about that. Although I did see that TNA had up the barbed wire Christmas tree match itself, so I turned it on for like 2 minutes, and Mike Tenay, that poor motherfucker, Mike Tenay, I don't even know how to describe this. Like it literally sounded like he was in a voiceover booth, just like randomly reading off his script about how to describe this match.
Abyss, Shark Boy, Black Rain, and Relic. That's killer spelled backward.
Yes. Oh God, we always accuse Vince McMahon of having no subtlety. Like
Uh,
there was shit that like when we'd watch wrestling as children, there was always that shit that kind of went over your head that you didn't understand until you got older, for whatever reason. I think Relic, I don't know if it really could have worked, but I think they could have at least tried to make it subtle, where it's like, okay, you may not notice it until you're older or whatever. But it's like, no, no, this was beaten over your head. Relic, which is killer spelled backwards.
poor Johnny Stamboli had such a weird career. He was a Mamaluke, and then he was like the fake Great Muta in All Japan.
I was gonna say you mentioned that, but like when was he the fake Great Muta? But I guess you just
Like
said it was in all Japan.
2004, 2005, somewhere in there before, and then he was Relic. That's killer spelled backward. And then I don't know if he ever did anything after that.
He was in the FBI in WWE as Johnny Stromboli. Actually, I remember his main roster debut, and it was because it was kind of memorable. It was on the episode of Raw where Bischoff debuted. He ran in and beat Bradshaw for the 24 or for the hardcore title, and then he went backstage. And for some reason, he introduced himself to Eric Bischoff. I guess it is possible he may not have actually met Bischoff because he. No, no, he did. They were
Wasn't he?
at the same
Weren't
time.
they in an angle?
Yeah, they were. So he goes backstage to introduce himself to Eric Bischoff, and Bradshaw comes out of nowhere and takes his head off with a clothesline to win back the hardcore title.
Because didn't the Mamalukes help Eric Bischoff? God, why do I know so much about fucking 2000 WCW? The Mamalukes helped Eric Bischoff beat Terry Funk for the WCW Hardcore title,
Yes.
and then Bischoff then gave the title to the Mamalukes, and then they ended up fighting for it, and Big Vito won it, and then had a little run with it.
Correct. And they were supposed to lead to a match at Bash at the Beach, a rematch. But then that's when Johnny the Bull did his springboard leg drop to the floor and tore
Oh,
his urethra.
I've heard Lance tell that story so many times.
Have you ever seen that spot?
I think so.
It,
Probably. I
it
feel
is
like I
it is
have.
insane, you know? It's like a lot of times you see spots in wrestling, especially, back then, because you ended up being so desensitized, where it didn't really occur to you that shit hurt. But when I was 15 years old and I saw that live on Nitro, I'm like, holy fuck, he hurt his ass. And I was not incorrect.
Uh, uh, ripped his urethra. That's the worst combination of words I've ever heard.
You remember when Lance told the story about how Christian broke a bone in Lance's throat with a clothesline? Apparently, it was like it's like a bone that's impossible to break, but like hockey players break it all the time because like a puck will hit them in the throat, and it made sense because Christian's arm was as skinny as a hockey puck. Lord. Well, oh yeah, and Johnny the Bull Stamboli was also John the Bull Hugger at the very beginning before he became a Marmaduke.
John the Ball Hugger.
The Bull Hugger. Yes. And then there was something else I was going to mention there. We were in the middle of talking about all the riveting 2000 WCW stuff. Oh Lord. You've been compiling a list of military ranked wrestlers. How's that coming along?
I don't even. I had that.
What was that?
I don't know. Well, we got into some confusion. Dale Veazey is causing problems, much like he is for the Stars of Mid-South Wrestling, because as you pointed out, well, because like the state patrol wouldn't count, right? Because they're police officers, not soldiers.
True. But I guess even if you did want to rank them, would they be below the military? I would assume so.
Well, it's complicated because like they use the same names of ranks, but they don't work exactly the same.
Yeah.
No. I'll either think more about it or I'll never think about it again.
Coming soon, Trey's book of military wrestlers. All right. I'm like going through the my stupid mouse sometimes is a pain in the ass. I'm going through the show to see how many timestamps we have, and including the introductions of both shows, we have a total of 3 timestamps. Oh, this is going to be a show. Let's go to the intro of Mid-South with Boyd and JR. We can't end the show if we don't begin it.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and I'm exciting because we have exciting matches coming up. All the top stars are here, including the Ugandan Warrior, Kamala. Also, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson. Ted DiBiase will be on the card, and the Alamo Busters, the Mexican brothers Chavo and Hector Guerrero. Also, Hacksaw Butch Reed. So they're all here ready for action. To tell you about it this week, a man who needs no introduction to Mid-South area, as well as wrestling fans all over the world, Jim Ross.
Well, Boyd, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us here this week on Mid-South Wrestling. A great new tag team is going to unfold today, and Brad Armstrong and Terry Taylor, they'll be in our first match here on Mid-South Wrestling, and Joe Watts has, as usual, prepared a tremendous video on Terry Taylor. Rod Stewart will provide the music. Do you think I'm sexy? A lot of girls do with Terry Taylor. Now let's take a special look at this great young star.
Joel Watts has not prepared a music video for Terry Taylor. I mean, he has, but it was 7 or 8 months ago.
And we're going to show it again now.
This is at least the 3rd time this is played. At least the 3rd time.
All of the music videos on the show have been played multiple times before.
Yep. Come on, Joel. What the fuck else have you got to do? I assume he's got nothing better to do anyway. Whatever him and Bill have gone on holiday for, whatever their holiday was, it was so much more important than doing their job. They must have taken matchmaker Grizzly Smith because, Jesus Christ, we don't even get a fucking dream match this week.
Telling me that, well, we do get a little bit of a dream match, just not, in retrospect.
Yeah. It's just funny because it's like the past, I don't know, months, it felt like there's been 3 or 4 big name versus name matches on every episode. And I was thinking, because and this actually used to happen in Smoky Mountain where they taped 4 shows, and the first 3 shows would be, some big matches, and then the fourth show would be a waste of time, you know. And it felt like that's what happened here, where we've been getting we're getting week after week of 2, 3, 4 main event type matches, even with some kind of shitty finishes, but we'd still be getting name versus name. And then we have this week where it's like, here is every wrestler in the company getting a win over an enhancement talent.
Yeah, it's that week between Christmas and New Year where nothing really exists or matters.
Um, by the way, the only positive of this Terry Taylor music video is that Reeser is in it, and it made me miss Reeser Bowden.
Yeah,
He's never coming back, is he?
probably not.
Nope. We then go to the ring for the closest thing to what could be a competitive match on this show. It's North American champion Brad Armstrong and Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch, a stooge, and a degens, versus Dale VC and Buddy Landell in a 4-man tag team match. Technically, he's not lying when he called it a 4-man tag team match, but who the hell ever calls it a 4-man tag team match?
You know what? I'm actually gonna defend him and say that it makes as much sense as calling a trios match a 6-man tag.
I mean, that's true, but at least, with 6-man tags and 8-man tags, etc., like those are by and large the accepted vernacular for that type of match. It's like no one ever calls this by anything but a tag team match. Like no one ever calls
Well,
it a 4-man tag.
you immediately knew what kind of match it was, didn't you?
For the most part, yeah. Like I was confused for a second. I'm like, what? I kind of want what's his fucking name? Jack Curtis. I want him to be on one week where they do a handicap match, so we call it a 3-man tag team match. But that probably won't happen. Uh, so it. I mean, I kind of had. I don't want to say hopes for this match, but hopes for this show when we got Buddy, who isn't like a top guy, but he's a pushed guy, and he's here in a tag match against Brad Armstrong and Terry Taylor, and it's obvious that Dale VC was here to do a job, but you figure, okay, Buddy's in there, it's going to be a little bit more competitive. It really wasn't though. Um, Buddy bitch slapped Brad, so Brad beat the bejesus out of Buddy. They had what I thought, by the way, was a perfectly timed double back body drop on the heels, which, I know it's a weird thing to point out and compliment, but you rarely see something like that look so perfectly timed and flawless. And then Taylor, to the shock of about nobody, pinned VC with the 5-arm.
A minute 30 seconds. Takes a
What
good
was
man
that?
to beat Dale. It was a minute and 30 seconds. Takes a good man to beat Dale Veazey, but it doesn't take him long.
Literally, I was a couple days ago years old when I found out that he was Lieutenant James Earl Wright.
Yeah,
The
that
State
came up
Patrol.
in our conversation about ranked wrestlers.
Yeah, I literally had no idea until you said that. Maybe it's because I never like who the hell has ever thought to look up Dale VC or really Lieutenant James Earl Wright?
I
The funny
looked
thing
up
is,
Dale Veazey on Cage Match. That was how I found out.
the funny thing about that, it's like the State Patrol is one of those teams like they never got a push. I doubt they won more than 10 matches in their entire run in WCW, but they were there for like 7 years. It's like they're mostly doing jobs on the B and C shows, but it's like they were on the shows forever. Like you pull up a random show from like 92, 95, 89, the fucking State Patrol is on there.
Well, those fellows probably made a comfortable living.
Probably, especially since, Buddy Lee Parker ended up running the power plant.
Yeah.
Um, And who knows? But WCW could still be in business today if they didn't run Batista off. Uh, with all due love and respect to Big Dave, and I love that he's a supporter of the transgender community. That was one of his more wild comments was that WCW may still have been in business if they didn't run him off.
Man, Batista turned out to be a pretty big fucking star. He's like,
I mean, let's be honest. Like, the only person that the power plant truly trained that became a big star was Goldberg, and that was as can't miss as humanly possible. It's like, no offense to the Mike Sanders and Chuck Palombos and Sean O'Hare's of the world, but it's like they were never going to be a whole lot of anything.
look, when Mike Sanders is above average, what does that say about the average?
Yeah. Like Reno, the Kiwi, Adrian Byrd was always my favorite WCW Saturday Night guy that came from the power plant.
I didn't realize that Kiwi was power plant.
Yep. So we get told up next will be something really interesting. A Jim Duggan music video. I wrote, we've already seen this too. This is going to be one of those shows, isn't it?
And again, I will point out because the song was "The South's Gonna Do It Again" by the Charlie Daniels Band. If you listen to the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along project, that is also known as Tracy Smothers' theme. And again, I want to point out that Jim Duggan is from New York.
Indeed he is. Then we're told we're going to have something really interesting after the commercial break. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. But it's not going to be another music video. It's actually a statement by Iceman King Parsons. I threw up my hands in victory because I'm like, at least it's not an Iceman King Parsons music video. So can you imagine? He's had one match in the territory. Like if they tried to make a music video out of that. And the one match isn't getting his ass kicked by Kamala for 2 minutes.
Oh, I kind of wish it had been a music video after finding out what it was.
Well, we're going to go now to the only promo on either show this week. Iceman King Parsons has something to say before we went on the air this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, Iceman King Parsons, prior to going on the air today, asked for some time to speak to the fans of the Mid-South area. I was with him at ringside. It's a very important announcement that the Iceman made, and let's hear exactly what he had to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Iceman King Parsons has requested this time here on Mid-South Wrestling to make a very important announcement to the fans of the Mid-South area.
You know, brother, last week here, I had Akbar #1 man. And to me, he ain't a man, he's an animal. And I know y'all can dig that. See, it's one thing the old man always told Iceman back home. He say, it ain't hard to put a good man down. He say, but it's hard to keep him there. Now, you know when I was back there in Dallas, me and that Akbar, we got it on. But see, when the good Lord made him, he forgot one thing to give Akbar, and that's guts. See, where I come from, only the strong survive, and the weak shall kneel by the riverside. And Akbar ain't got no guts. And you know, I was holding my own with that sucker, with that animal. But Akbar just, it's something about him, just sent hatred all over me. And I just took my eyes off that animal, and it cost me. But I tell you what I'm going to do. Yes, sir, Akbar, this is directly to you. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going back to Dallas, and I'm going to finish my business. Then I'm packing all my bags. I'm packing all my grips and get in my limousine, and I'm moving to the Mid-South. And you can take this to the bank, baby. This Mid-South, it ain't big enough for me and you, Akbar. It ain't big enough for me and you. One of us got to go, brother. One of us got to go. Now, I know in my heart right now that Hacksaw Butch Reed is your #1 victim you want to get rid of. Well, me and Reed is like two peas in a pot. And we don't start moving till the water get hot. Have mercy.
You know, Boyd, I think Iceman King Parsons brought out some very key points. Number one, he did turn his back on Kamala, which he cannot do because of his tremendous hatred for General Skandar Akbar. He's going back to Dallas. He's packing up his things. He's going to finish his business there, and he's more or less moving to the Mid-South area. And between he and Hacksaw Butch Reed, that's going to be a lot of soul for General Skandar Akbar to contend with. And we'll be seeing more of the Iceman. He'll be here with us next week. And right now, let's go to ring announcer Jack Curtis. And
All right. It took him so long to tell us what his important announcement was. I'm like, is his important announcement that General Skandar Akbar has no guts? Okay, so let me get this straight. He is moving from Dallas to the Mid-South region, knowing that Mid-South is not big enough for either he and General Skandar Akbar at the same time. So he's moving to the Mid-South region with the possibility that he then has to immediately leave the Mid-South region.
He could also fight Akbar in Dallas. He doesn't have to move to the Mid-South area.
Well, to be fair, Texas is a very large state, so there's plenty of room for both of them there.
Well, yeah. But why
Now,
is like
Mhm.
Okay. So if they were both in world class, there would be enough room for both of them.
Exactly. Because there's a lot of room for them. There's a lot more elbow room in the world class region in the Mid-South region.
You know, I think maybe geographically, fucking Mid-South territory might have been bigger than the world class territory.
I guess, especially when you include like those trips to Oklahoma and whatnot.
Yeah, because they're doing Oklahoma City and Tulsa. They're doing Little Rock, and they're doing Jackson, Mississippi, Biloxi, Mississippi. So from fucking like Little Rock, Oklahoma City, Tulsa to the Gulf Coast, except for Texas, but Houston too, because at this point Houston is getting talent from Watts.
Correct. I mean, Houston more or less is a Mid-South city at this point.
Yeah.
So I meant to go back and not necessarily rewatch that match from last week, but wasn't it basically a 2-minute Kamala squash match where Parsons got like 10 seconds of offense in?
That's how I recollect it.
Yeah. But yet somehow he was really taking it to Akbar's main man. I think the real reason is he's leaving Dallas because he's tired of teaming with a pedophile.
You know what? That's completely fair. He can come hang out with us for a while.
Little does he know, of course, that the matchmaker over here.
Oh, God damn
it. There's nothing he can do. He can't go to New York because then you'd have whatchamacallit, Mel Phillips and all those other people that abused the Ring Boys, Terry Garvin. I guess did Mel Phillips abuse the Ring Boys, or was he had the toe fetish, or was it both?
I don't know.
There's a reason why no one listens to this show.
There's a lot of reasons nobody listens to this show.
Oh, God. Mostly because we're not talking about Smoky Mountain on every show. That's apparently the only show people actually listen to on this little broadcasting network. When we have to fantasy book like future episodes of Smoky Mountain from episode 200 on, just to get people to keep listening, to see how long they might listen for. And I'll just go back and like play old promos and claim that they're new promos.
There you go.
Oh, Lord. So up next, we had Kamala with General Skandar Akbar and Friday versus Mike Dunkin' Donuts. Now, Mike Dunkin' Donut hailed from Georgia, and they tell us that Georgia is as far away from Uganda as you can be. Now, Trey, I know you were a history major and not a geography major, but do you see why that might not be accurate? That Georgia is about as far from Uganda as can be?
Is it because Shreveport, Louisiana is further from Uganda than Georgia could be?
Exactly. Now, by the way, fuck Google Maps because I was literally just trying to figure out how many miles the state of Georgia was from Uganda. And it basically refused to let me answer that question. Like, you can't drive to Uganda. You can't fly to Uganda. You can't do whatever to Uganda. I don't give a fuck. Just tell me how fucking far away it is, Google Maps. And they would not just fucking tell me. It was driving me K-razzy. So Kamala won with the splash to the back, which, if you recall, like 3 weeks ago, was a disqualification, but is not here because Mike Dunkin' Donut is not as important as Magnum TA.
Love Kamala. He couldn't be a better Kamala.
Nope. Rock and Roll Express versus Bad Bob Owens and Mark Hill. Mark Hill took a face bump off a back elbow to the face somehow, and then Morton pinned him with a double drop kick. Somehow, Mark Hill was worse than Bad Bob Owens.
Of all the Rock and Roll Express TV squashes I've seen, this was one of them.
All right. Tag team champion, Ted DiBiase versus Shawn Michaels. Yes, that's Shawn Michaels. Now, we've mentioned this before, but that Shawn Michaels kid has some promise. Honestly, I think it would help if, Michaels were to steal DiBiase's manager from him one day.
Skandar Akbar?
Well, no, because he ends up stealing Sherry from him.
That'd be a hell of an alternate universe if Shawn Michaels had been managed by Skandar Akbar instead of Sensational Sherry.
And still coming out to Sexy Boy. Akbar holding a heart-shaped mirror.
I don't approve of using generative AI, but I want to know what it would sound like to have Admiral Akbar sing "Sexy Boy."
I was even going to say like him singing it, just like the song once it became sung by Michaels singing it.
So pretty sure this match was on either like the Legends of Mid-South DVD or one of the Shawn ones.
Yeah, I know I've seen this match before. Now here's the thing, and there's probably going to be some people, if they actually listen to this, who give me a little bit of shit for this. This was a good match. This was better than pretty much every squash match we get on either of these shows.
Yeah.
However, it's just all right. This is not really a match that you need to go out of your way to go on the look for, outside of the fact that it's Shawn Michaels like 6 months into his career, like that kind of thing. It's like it 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 was a TV match. It was a more competitive than usual TV match. But it's like, this Shawn Michaels fellow, he's got something, but he has a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, don't avoid this match or anything. It is interesting to see, because it's Ted DiBiase against Shawn Michaels when Shawn was a couple months into the business. But it's Ted. You could tell that he thought that this kid might have something. He gave him just enough to make it interesting, to eat him alive. This is good.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, don't don't go find this match because you think you're going to see a 4.5-star match. It's a 3-minute TV match where DiBiase gave Shawn, a good amount. It was not an out-and-out squash match. But, it's like, please don't hear this and think, oh my God, this is Kurt Angle versus Roderick Strong in terms of like all-time great squash matches or anything. This was a good, like I said, better than average squash match.
I don't know why Arya is so anti people going to watch this match. Go watch the match. It's fine.
Yes, go watch the match, but like again, don't watch the match thinking you're going to get 1999 Shawn Michaels.
Why would you think that? Why would
because
never
there's people, if people are listening to this, there'll be people out there who go, "Oh my God, Shawn Michaels versus Ted DiBiase, approaching his prime." They're going to sit here and think, "Oh my God, like break the Dave Meltzer star rating system for this match."
I don't want to talk about this anymore. The Guerreros wrestled Tim Horner and fucking Tony Falk.
Tim Horner already has the lightning bolt on his tights. Falk got the hot tag and was immediately kicked in the gut. And I started writing that he was submitted with the Mexican surfboard, but Falk was a lot more resistant than that, or a lot more resilient than that. And Chavo pinned him with the Senton Atomico.
Chavo shined up Horner pretty good right at the beginning before he tagged out so they could beat up Tony Falk.
My lightning!
And JR at one point referred to him as lightning like somehow.
Well, he did have the lightning bolt on his tights, so it's not like, it's completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't sing this week. Don't worry, Trey. Sheik Hercules Hernandez, the General Skandor Akbar, versus the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Champion Mike Jackson in a non-title match. Hercules won with the Shinin no Maki. Man, that move looks familiar to another move in this territory, but I can't place it.
Well, to be fair, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it again. Like Private Terry Daniels did it the one time. We only saw him do it one time, and then Hercules has done it twice since then.
I thought we saw him do it twice. Oh well,
I don't think so.
I'm mistaken, I guess.
This was a Mike Jackson quality squash match.
Now, I do have some updates about the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Championship. I went to the Wrestling Classics message board and found a post by someone named Diamond MD. So apparently Diamond went out and got his doctorate. And he says that it was a made-up title that Mike defended on Outlaw shows in between TV tapings. He wrestled Mike for it several times, but never won it. The only guy he knew that Mike trusted enough to let him win it was a guy from Birmingham named Ronnie Home. Or no, Ronnie Horn, excuse me.
So it's the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Championship as recognized by Mike Jackson.
Correct. So this past Saturday, I think we talked about this on the show, but for about a year or so, I've kind of made it a habit that on Saturday mornings when I wake up, I pull up Peacock and turn on an episode of WWF Superstars, and I reached 1995, January of 1995. And so this past Saturday morning, it led to me having to ask Trey a question that he was wondering what kind of drugs I was on, because the question was, who do you think would win a match between Duke the Dumpster Droese and Chris Kanyon? Turns out Duke the Dumpster Droese is in fact better than Kanyon.
Who do you think would win a match between Butch Reed and Jack Victory?
Boy, I don't know. I don't know here. But that was our next and final match on the show. I think it was the longest match on the show, and Reed won with a diving shoulder tackle. This was pretty much as close. Outside of the DiBiase Michaels match, this was like the only real other competitive match on the show.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yep. So, yeah, read one, and then we're told that next week, another hour of random people wrestling. And one of the biggest selling points of next week's show is that Bill Watts would be back.
Bill and Joel.
Well, they mentioned Bill twice.
Oh.
Yes. Well, didn't I have like a talking point to ask about on the show? I'm trying to like uh scroll through our messages, and we some weeks is one of the weeks where we talked a lot. Or at least I talked a lot, and now I'm just trying to find the whatever the hell I wanted to talk to you about. Um oh well. Yeah. Yep. No
Then they
idea.
showed a Butch Reed video that we had seen before. That was how Mid-South ended.
Oh yeah, we had the Butch Reed music video, which isn't even like the Butch Reed music video with the credits over it. It's just the Butch Reed music video, and then they had the credits.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's what I wanted to ask you about. So we've joked on this show about you accusing me of perpetuating the myth that TNA exists, but I would say, like, for better or worse, the resurgence of TNA really is one of the bigger stories of the past few years.
Okay.
You are so not into conversation sometimes, are you? Or are you ranting, raves? Trae? Okay.
Oh.
This is why it's a bad idea to ever bring up any topics, during the week. But it's also sometimes a good idea because then I would find out if you don't want to talk about something.
And you thought I might want to talk about the resurgence of TNA?
I think it could have been an interesting talking point. It was like 2016, 2017 when like they literally had, well, not 4 shows, but 4 strips of shows a year because they would go out to Orlando 4 times a year, tape 13 episodes of Impact for a week, tape whatever one night only shows they had to do, and that was it. They were staying alive for the sake of staying alive. And now it's like, they are on a lot more solid ground. And it's not just the WWE partnership, because it was just because, WWE is lending people talent. Evolve, the original Evolve would still be a thing right now. It was like Evolve was getting all the WWE stuff back then too.
Yeah, but they weren't allowed to like air any of the matches on the iPay-per-views.
You sure?
Yeah, because I was watching a lot of those.
I mean, I don't know that.
Maybe later, maybe later when it was like the fucking Street Pop Profits and Fabian Eichner.
But see, that's what I'm thinking of because I was, at Evolve where the Street Profits were wrestling, and I'm like, that's a pretty sizable gap in the show if they're, not airing this. But oh well. World Class Championship Wrestling, or as I wrote, it is almost impossible for this show to be worse than Mid-South this week. Let's go to the intro.
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling from the world-famous Sportatorium in Dallas, Texas. During the next hour, you're going to see some of the world's greatest professional excitement, featuring the Missing Link, facing fabulous Freebird Terry Gordy. You'll also see Mike Von Erich in action against Big John Tatum. Those are our main events, but they are not all of the story, as we have an hour packed full of excitement. We're going to open up with an exciting World Class Championship Wrestling encore as we go back to the Cotton Bowl for some World 6-Man Tag Team title action. And we'll be back to get it all started when World Class Championship Wrestling returns to the Sportatorium.
Just when you think, World Class has the shoe in to have a better show this week, Drunk Mark Lawrence is here as your ring announcer, or not as your ring announcer, as your play-by-play man.
Yeah.
But hey, we're gonna get Max versus Gordy, Mike Von Erich versus the debuting Big John Tatum, and an hour of excitement, including the two sweetest words in the world-class vocabulary, encore. And that encore match took up a third of the fucking show, too, so hooray for the encore match.
I was so annoyed watching this show because, like, over the last week, I've been kind of going down a Jim Cornette YouTube classic wrestling rabbit hole. So I listened to him talk about December 1984, which is the month that they transitioned from Mid-South to World Class. Mm-hmm. And they've done the fucking Fort Worth TV. They've done Star Wars Against the Fantastics. We still have not seen the Midnight Express.
I mean, typically the Star Wars, I mean, it's happened, but it hasn't yet happened, you know, in the world-class TV show. So they could be on this show the next week or two. You there?
I am.
Okay. Any more thoughts on that?
I don't understand why we do some of the things that we do.
Like you and I?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Why are we watching this show?
I mean, I don't fucking know. I'm like, at this point, I think it's mostly because I'm just insistent that we watch Chris and Gino. And the problem with that is Chris and Gino are not on every week. Jose Lothario versus Tony Falk.
Oh my God. I just popped myself.
So
I just realized looking at my notes. Both times I meant to type Bronco Lubick. I typed Bronco Nagurski, who was like a wrestler and football player like before World War II.
Yes. Bronco Nagurski was not the referee for any of these matches. In fact, I'm quite confident he was, in fact, very much dead at this point.
I believe that is correct.
Bronco Nagurski, it was a Lugurski. Actually, no, he's still alive. He died in 1990.
Oh, well. But he was not refereeing these matches.
No, he was not. You know, Bronco Nagurski never got no bye weeks, and now he's dead. Maybe they're a good thing. So Jose Lothario versus Tony Falk. So yes, we get Shawn Michaels on Mid-South and his trainer on World Class. Did you notice that Tony Falk apparently moved when he moved from Mid-South to World Class this week?
Well,
they announced on Mid-South being from Paducah, Kentucky, which is his, I don't know if it's his shoot hometown, but it's the hometown that he's most famously announced from. And Ralph Pulley announced him from Minnesota.
Yeah,
where the hell did Minnesota come from?
Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows?
What are the odds that Ralph Pulley didn't know how to pronounce Paducah? Although it doesn't explain, you know, how he came up with Minnesota. Now, Trey, I hope you're sitting down for this. You know, and please, I hope like you're not holding any cute furry animals when I say this, because I don't want you to like injure anybody by throwing them straight up in the air or anything. Jose Lothario versus Tony Falk was not as good as Ted DiBiase versus Shawn Michaels.
It wasn't, but like it wasn't terrible. I don't know. I was kind of entertained watching Jose do his thing. Like at this point, At this point, for me, Jose Lothario was like the wrestler of the day.
Now, remember last week when DML told us that there's going to be big news about a match that was the match of the year in 1984 and it was coming next week? Well, that is to tell us that next week on this very show, in that very ring, it will be Harry Von Erich versus Ric Flair for the World's Heavyweight Championship.
Oh boy.
Man, oh man, Maddie, that should be a Lulu. You know how NWA has worlds written on its belt with the apostrophe S?
Yeah.
Do you think the WWC has universes written on their title?
No. But
Not
no.
all my best attempts to pop Trey are not working today. This is a really bad show, folks. Lothario had an armbar on, and DML said we may have a submission. Spoiler: we did not get a submission, and Lothario won with a bulldog.
Indeed.
Jake Roberts, weighing a massive 260 pounds, versus Chick Donovan, who looked like he pulled up at the gas station and forgot to tell him to pull the air hose out, and somehow weighed less than 260 pounds. I don't want to accuse anybody of being on anything, but Chick Donovan did not appear very natural this week.
Natural.
Which, if that is the case, if he's poking himself in the ass to get this physique, it's really not working out for him since he never wins.
Yeah. No. He got his poor knee destroyed.
Yep. During this match, DML vowed that 1985 will be even better than 1984. Jake tried to pull Chick's cheek knee wrap off, but Chick fought it off. I know it's been said before, but Mark Lawrence points out that Keith Mitchell is the director of this show. The same Keith Mitchell who was the director of WCW, TNA, and AEW until he retired in 2022. Which,
wow.
It's insane. Like, I guess it's not really insane, but it's insane. It
was pretty insane.
Yeah. Now, Trey, how many times did you have to rewind to double check that Jake won with a clothesline?
Once.
I did it twice because I still refuse to believe it. Because he hit the clothesline and then he walked around before kneeling on poor Chick Donovan. But yeah, that is what happened. Jake won with a clothesline.
Yeah. He was not going to waste a DDT on Chick Donovan.
It's possible Jake didn't even take a bump in this match. Yes, I didn't watch it that closely until Jake bumped it all.
It was mostly just Jake working the knee, looked like to me.
I gotta tell you, as we're going through all these old ECW tapes on our own, we got to get to find one of the no bump matches that Lance Storm and Jerry Lynn apparently had.
Oh yeah,
because that sounds fascinating. We then get Max versus Terry Gordy, and I forgot about Mike Von Erich versus John Tatum, and I was looking at the clock, going, "How fucking long is this match going to be?" Because there was like 14 minutes left on the show.
Yeah.
So Max attacked as Gordy stepped between the ropes, so Gordy beat him upside down in the ropes. Max attacked. So as the fucking match was going, drunk Mark Lawrence forced Ralph Foley to do the ring announcements. Gordy at one point literally got a near fall while they were introducing them. And here's a question. What would happen, do you think, if like the match ended during the ring introductions?
He would have had to finish the introductions before he could announce who won.
And Max's opponent, Fabulous Freebird, and the winner of this match, Terry Gordy. Um, Akbar. Okay, we've seen a lot of crappy disqualifications, and I guess the fact that I did not hear Trey screaming from Texas really shows just how far we've evolved and how desensitized Trey's come to bad disqualifications. Because Max was disqualified here when General Skandor Akbar got in the ring.
It's
That's it.
true. I've become desensitized to the stupid disqualifications. But like up until the fucking finish, I love this. This is the best Max match I've ever seen.
This was the worst finish of all time that we've seen this week.
This week for sure.
Um, so Akbar gets in the ring to encourage Max on for the disqualification. Finally, after Gordy rolled out of the way of a diving headbutt, Akbar stomped Gordy. Gordy blocked the third stomp, got up, and beat up Max some more. Akbar is such a nothing threat that he didn't even bother getting up and beating up Akbar. He is no Chick Donovan.
Chick Donovan, who also couldn't beat Akbar.
Who got his ass kicked by General Skandor Akbar in a fair fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, this honestly, like, hey, this Terry Gordy fellow, he's pretty good himself.
Terry Gordy, quite good.
Imagine him versus that Shawn Michaels fellow.
That'd be awesome, actually.
Yes, indeed. So then we get what is technically the main event: Mike Von Erich versus Big John Tatum. Trey, why do they call John Tatum big? Everyone knows he's big. They don't call his opponent Handsome Mike. Now, hey, I finally popped Trey. Oh God. So Drunk Mark Lawrence tells us that Mike Von Erich was voted Rookie of the Year due to the fans in the continental United States and the rest of the world. I know he said and the rest of the world, but the way he said continental United States, did Mike not get the vote from Hawaii and Alaska?
He did say "and the rest of the world."
Yeah, but like the way he says the continental U.S. makes it sound like okay, like it's not you know, Alaska and Hawaii, or maybe not the whatchamacallit, not the territories like Puerto Rico and all that. Oh Lord, I'm actually now trying to look up the 1984 PWI Rookie of the Year award to see who was the runners up. Nikita Koloff, Pressure Khrushchev, and Kevin Kelly, aka Nails. You know, I know the PWI had issues with these rookies of the year, especially back in this day. But like Crusher Khrushchev was on this fucking show, I guess it was 83, but like he was in 83. Nikita Koloff, I guess it could have been around this time, but it's like, yeah. Like how Ric Flair was the 1975 Rookie of the Year when he already been wrestling for 3 years.
Huh.
Medusa Michelli defeated Chris Benoit, Max Payne, and Scott Steiner in 1988.
Blunt rotation from hell.
Oh God. Eric Watts won over Diamond Dallas Page, Vladimir Koloff, and Chaz Taylor, whoever the fuck that is.
It's Headbanger Mosh, isn't it?
I don't think so because they don't have a Wikipedia page, and I'd assume like if it was Headbanger Mosh, he would have his own Wikipedia page. Like some of these rookies of the year sure were hit and miss. Like um Prince Iakeo was the 1997 Rookie of the Year over Ernest the Cat Miller, Chris Chetty, and Brockus.
Chaz Taylor, also known as Chaz, but not that Chaz, and American Chippendale. Fuck, what was Masha's name? So it was Chaz
Well,
something.
Chaz,
Chaz Warrington.
Warrington. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
The Boogeyman won in 2006 over Charles Evans, Aki Bono, and Cody Runnels.
I wonder if Cody Reynolds kid ever made anything of himself.
2011, good old Leaky Roman Reigns lost to someone named Ace Hawkins.
I don't know who that is.
Ace Hawkins won. The first runner-up was Nick Madrid, and then Leaky, and then Briley Pierce, who's Ryan Nemeth. So some of these rookies of the year were really hit and miss. Let's see. Search the web for Ace Hawkins. Apparently, at some point, he did a WWE tryout match with he's standing in the ring holding a WWE microphone. So, Aaron Relic. Okay, I know the name Aaron Relic. I don't know why I know the name Aaron Relic, but I know the name Aaron Relic. He, I don't know why the name is stuck with me, but it looks like nothing he's done is anything that's really stuck with me. Okay, great. And then I guess this year's awards haven't come out yet because the most recent award winner is 2024 Kalani Jordan, defeating Jada Parker, Carmen Petrovic, and Oleg Boltin, which almost seems ridiculous to say. Speaking of Oleg Boltin and New Japan Pro Wrestling, are you not psyched up sufficiently for Wrestle Kingdom 20?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. I was gonna say we're pretty much at the end here. I guess we haven't talked about the actual Mike Von Erich Big John Tatum match because even then I still go off of more Rookie of the Year stuff because I wrote when Marcus Bagwell was the WCW Magazine 1991 Rookie of the Year, they kept introducing him as such and well into 1993. Here's hoping that when Mike dies in 1987, part of the eulogy Fritz does is calling him 1984 Rookie of the Year Mike Von Erich.
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah. Tatum uses the stun gun, which is a move done by tall blonde guys from Hollywood, apparently. And Mike won with a crossbody. These fans who stuck with this the entire show, as soon as that bell rang for the 3 count, they dispersed. They were running out of that building as fast as they could as soon as this match ended.
John Tatum is big and impressive looking, and I feel like he deserves better than losing to Mike.
I mean, I don't know when, maybe this is the start of it, but he's going to have a pretty decent push on this show because I think he's managed by Misty at one point.
Well, didn't get much of a push here.
He got pushed into the ring to lose to Mike.
Yeah.
And according to Cage Match, this is the only time these two ever have a match together.
Oh. Well, at least there's that.
Yeah. So we have certainly ended 1984 on a bang. And this is, hey, I know you haven't been here the whole time, but this is officially the 3rd full year of classic wrestling we've covered on this show.
I've been here for most of 2 years.
Yep. We started in December of 81 with Mid-South, and we made it through all of 82, all of 83, and now all of 84. And now on to 1985. And this is, I don't know. I honestly don't know how this year goes, business-wise. I think World Class is still strong. I think Mid-South is mostly strong still. I don't think the, wheels come off for either until 86.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah. And I mean, come on, with the world class we've seen, Like, imagine what the wheels falling off would be.
I can't wait.
You're going to be choking me out in like 6 months if we're still watching World Class.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yep. This is why I don't give you my address. So you can't show up at my house and murder me in my sleep. It's like, I don't
You'll
know. It's
slip
like,
one of these days.
it's funny if you want to blame anything. Like, it was an early March '83 episode of Mid South, because that's when I was like, I'm like, I was doing the shows by myself, and I was like, I'm like, this show's gonna take like 20 minutes to talk about, and that's if I'm lucky. And that's when I like, okay, I'm gonna watch something else just to pad the runtime. And it was a good episode of World Class that week, and it's like it just became the okay, this is what we're doing from now on.
That period of Mid South was rough, so you know.
Very, very true. Um, but anyway, so there's been some stuff going on here. Earlier today, the lawsuit by the shareholders against Vince McMahon over the merger with Endeavor to make TKO. Some more information came out. Apparently, a lot of emails and text messages came out that made it fairly obvious that when Vince, quote unquote, retired the first time, that like Mark Shapiro was basically telling him, or was basically telling people like that Vince was going to lay low for 6 to 9 months, come back, and then merge with UFC in Endeavor. And so that's a pretty big, you know, a big plus here for the shareholders with that lawsuit, because their whole lawsuit is that, this was not in the best interest of the company. It was not in the best interest of the shareholders to maximize shareholder value. And this is fairly obvious that like this was not a real like I guess it wasn't really a real open sale. This was very much a contrived thing in advance. And even though they claimed that Vince had nothing to do with creative, apparently he had either a text or an email came out where a month before WrestleMania with Cody and Roman, the first one, that said that creative changed. And in theory, that meant that was when Roman went over instead of Cody.
You mean Vince McMahon benefited from a shady business deal? I can't imagine such a thing.
I know, right? Let me see here. Apparently, the trial for the other Ted DiBiase on conspiracy to commit wire fraud and to commit theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, 6 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, as well as 4 counts of money laundering, will begin this coming Tuesday. And this is the story that involves Brett Favre as well. And yeah. And apparently it's pretty much officially official at this point. Everything is coming down off Peacock except SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, and NXT major shows. All the territorial stuff will be gone. So if you haven't subscribed to a torrent site, now is the time to do it. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Going through today's daily update, see if there's anything of note. Hey, happy birthday to Justin Roberts. He turned 46 today.
Justin Roberts, how about it?
Yes. Shout, shout, shout it on out. Anything else going on right now?
No, it's just that kind of it's that week between Christmas and New Year where nothing really exists or matters and time is irrelevant.
Apparently, William Regal has warned people against taking bumps on your head. I'm not that it's not great advice, because it is, but it's like, really? Like, and you're getting all these people who are now like chiming out like, oh, yeah, this is great advice by William Regal. Did anybody out there really need to be told that bumping on your head was a bad idea?
Well, apparently some people need to hear it.
Really, more people than you think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love Mr. Regal and everything, but that seemed fairly obvious to me anyway. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything at all?
I don't have anything else. I just my cat whined at the door until he was let in, and now he's on the desk cuddling me.
Aw. Uh, your cat heard me talk about them.
Good boy, my sweet boy.
So, anyway, I guess that's gonna do it for this week. You know, I hope everyone had a safe holiday season. Hope everyone has a safe New Year's. Please do not do anything stupid Wednesday night, and that includes driving to Worcester for a wrestling show. Especially when you live an hour plus away, because people on the roads are stupid.
Yeah, don't do
But
something stupid like watch World Class.
yes, do something stupid like watch. Like, hey, there's still like 4 years, not 4 years. I don't know how much more World Class they have on the show on the network, but there might be enough time to go watch another 60 or 70 episodes of World Class before it all comes down on Thursday. So go do that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, but that's going to do it for this week. Hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.